think about the ACB ability to pass through the increase in the cost of fund to its customer?
Thank you for your questions. Can I confirm your question is what do we think about the ability of ACB to decrease the cost of fund, right?
Now, my question is, imagine that, for example, next year the interest level will increase, and what do you think about ACB ability to pass through the increase in its cost of fund to its customer?
Increase or decrease? Sorry?
Increase.
Increase. Yeah. Thank you for your questions. I think with the customer base of ACB, this moment is we're consider like their advantage like at the moment. So I want to show you that the customer base of ACB that they only focusing on the retail customer. This object is not sensitivity for the interest rate. So if the interest increase, if the customer base accurately of ACB, they don't care about the interest increase or decrease. The most important thing they concern are the customer service, and ACB is doing well.
I would like to clarify my friend's answer here. Is that in ACB, like we mentioned before, ACB customer is very special. ACB aim for the segment of customer who are individual customer with high income and a very clear ability to repay the debt. So these sort of customer, unlike in, like I can take an example like in Vietnam Prosperity Bank, VPB, they aim for the consumer credit, and these customers are very sensitive to change in the interest rates. But ACB customer segment, they are very special, like my friend had mentioned. They're not that sensitive to interest rates. So like we mentioned, when the interest rates rising, it's gonna affect like the entire banking industry and a lot. But ACB with its special customer base will be least likely to be affected. And so our target price may still remain accurate.
Following on the cost of fund, can you explain why you forecast the steady increase in the net interest margin of ACB in the next few years?
Thank you for your question. As my presentations, the 3-point impact to the NIM, as we are assume that in the future the NIM increase rapidly. It's thanks to the LDR ratio. At the moment, in ACBs were restricted by the government lower than 80%. So ACB have the prospect to increase the LDR and thereby improving NIM. That's the first factor. The second one is the CASA ratio is expected to be improved in the next. The CASA ratio is expected to improve in the next period through the deploy a lot of new financial projects such as the family banking and merchant account and the payroll. So the CASA is expected to be increased in the next period. We also think that the NIM is reliable because we think ACB have enough all conditions to increase in the next period. So I think NIM was expected to increase is reliable.
I have a question on your valuations. In terms of the impact of the valuations, right? When you look at the economic downturn slide, you have done a sensitivity. There's no page number, so I can't really know. It's this one. Yeah, this one. I'm just curious here because if you're looking at a fall in credit growth change, by, let's say at the maximum minus 2.1%, the target price dropped by 5.3%. What are the assumptions here that you use? Have you changed your assumptions in terms of what the price to book would be if there is a dramatic slowdown in credit growth and so forth?
We can realize the risk that GDP will be to decrease. We have tried to do the estimate that if the GDP increase 0.1%, decrease 0.1%, the credit growth will decrease 0.7% accordingly, and is affect to our target price. In the table you can see. So thus we have just tried to do the estimate.
Okay, but do you then change your estimates more dramatically? Like in the case of your assumptions, right? Did you keep your price to book at the same price to book? Whether there is an increase in credit growth, like let's say if it goes up by a positive 2.1%, did you keep your price to book assumption at let's say 2.2 times? Versus if there was negative credit growth of 2.1%, did you also then keep it at 2.2 or did you bring it down? That's the question. Because in the market, this is what tends to happen. Markets tend to overshoot when price to book, when it's positive, let's say, the credit growth is very strong, like currently. The price to book assumptions move up. But when your credit growth falls below market expectations, the price to book drops quite dramatically. And therefore, the sensitivity of the share price moves quite a bit.
Yeah, I much knowledge that your questions that, you mean that when the credit decrease, the price to book value will be decreased accordingly, right? Yeah.
So did you make that change?
I just do the estimate sensitivity analysis based on the credit growth will be impacted by GDP decrease to see what happens with the target price. Yeah, thank you.
Why do you think Vietnamese bank has the highest multiples in the region? Thanks to what factors?
For the price to book value is, we must know that is relatively higher than the average in the regional, but it thanks to the credit growth prospect in the next coming time, we also think that the current period in Vietnam banking industry in the mid-cycle, so we think it's still fair for ACB and for any bank in the banking industry to receive their price to book value at a high level.
I would like to consolidate my friend's answer a little bit. So the reason we're choosing PB at such a high level as what I mentioned, because one of the most significant things that support our conclusion is the current Vietnam macro situation and the current phase of the banking industry. About the Vietnam macro situation, I have presented to you through the macro figures such as GDP, CPI, and especially FDI to Vietnam that shows very good signals for a sustainably outlook. And then we have the banking industry. So why do our assumption is that the banking industry is in the mid-cycle. So why are we saying that's a mid-cycle? Because we observed the previous figure of the banking industry and we found that there's been a recovery stage with a rapid growth of many banks. So now we've just reached a peak last year. So this year and in the next 1 or 2 years, we expect it to be the mid-cycle, and therefore the PB, although we choose it and it's really higher than other industry, but we think it's fair because thanks to the Vietnam macro environment that outperform other economies in the region. Thank you.
Okay, let me add more something. As my friend have shown in our presentations, the credit growth is closely attached to the GDP growth, the economic growth in Vietnam, and economic in Vietnam is prospect to continue to increase in the next period. So the banking industry is prospect to increase accordingly. Yeah.
This question is pertaining to the mid-cycle stage that you mentioned. Is there any M&A opportunities for ACB to grow further in terms of, as you have mentioned, it's very strong on the consumer banking side. Is there a bank out there that could potentially provide synergistic benefits on the corporate banking?
I'm sorry, could you restate the questions?
So, when you go back to your charts, you have mentioned that the ACB is very strong in consumer banking. Is there a bank that could potentially be a target for ACB that could give it a more balanced approach towards its balance sheet, i.e., try to grow its base in corporate banking?
Sorry, I think you might confuse about this. The target customer, ACB, is not the consumer customer. Is they focus on their...
Sorry to cut you off, but the 10 minutes for the Q&A section has ended.